I'm Dr. Frita, and today I'm giving you the 15 worst foods for blood pressure. I am a board-certified nephrologist, which means I specialize in kidneys and high blood pressure. Yes, high blood pressure is what I talk about day in and day out. And I have so many patients who come in and they're like, I don't want to be on medicines. And guess what? It starts with what you eat, with what you put in your mouth. There are so many foods in the grocery store that are bad for your blood pressure. So we're going to go through them. Yeah, we're having a field trip. We know that tens of millions of Americans have high blood pressure, and the American diet is loaded with sodium and foods with preservatives that are really bad for your blood pressure. And guess what? High blood pressure is a leading cause of heart disease and strokes, and it is the number 2 reason why people end up on dialysis. Yes, it's the number 2 cause of people being in my dialysis clinics. So today, we're going on a field trip, and I'm giving you the 15 worst foods for blood pressure. Keep watching. Be sure to download your copy of my book. It's called Under Pressure. It's your step-by-step guide on how to control high blood pressure. This book is packed with valuable tools, guidelines, and information to help you to control high blood pressure. Click the link in the description to get your copy today. As you take this field trip with me through the grocery store looking for the worst foods for high blood pressure, do you notice something about my location within the grocery store? Yeah, I want you to really pay attention on where the worst foods for blood pressure are located, and we'll talk about it at the end of this video. Processed meats or cured meats like salami, ham, and bacon, they're loaded with sodium. Yes, they're loaded with salt and saturated fats, which can make them detrimental to blood pressure when consumed in high amounts. Commercially baked goods like packaged cookies, packaged cakes, packaged pastries, they have very high levels of refined sugars and unhealthy fats and refined carbohydrates, which can be really bad for your blood pressure when eaten frequently. Microwave popcorn, which I know can be so delicious and tempting, it's not good for your blood pressure at all. It's high in salt. It's high in unhealthy saturated fats. High unsaturated fats can lead to you having clogged arteries, which of course can lead to high blood pressure. So the typical microwave popcorn is one of the worst foods for high blood pressure. You may think of condiments as being harmless, but condiments like hot sauce, barbecue sauce, ketchup can be loaded down with sodium, which of course is not great for your blood pressure. So make sure that you are a label watcher and you pay attention to exactly how much sodium is in each serving of one of your favorite condiments. Ooh, another thing is packaged noodles, like the ones that come in a block and you add water. They are the staple of so many diets, especially if your kids need something to eat quickly or if you just want to grab something to fill you up. But that's one of the worst things you can do for high blood pressure, because if you watch the label, these packaged noodles will have more than the daily allowance of sodium, the daily recommended allowance of salt. So you want to avoid packaged noodles because, yes, it's one of the worst foods for high blood pressure. Frozen, ready-to-go dinners. Now, I know that these can be super convenient, especially for patients who don't have a lot of time, or for people who are just on the run, or if you're someone who is not able to cook like you used to be able to cook. But listen, frozen ready-to-go dinners, especially the ones with sauces, can be really bad for your blood pressure. A lot of them have flavor enhancers, preservatives, which are really bad for blood pressure. So you definitely want to avoid eating frozen, ready-to-go dinners. You especially don't want to eat them frequently. Sushi. Sushi can be pretty good depending on what you choose. But if you're having sushi and you're loading it down with soy sauce, that's bad for your blood pressure. We know that soy sauce, delicious though it may be, is very, very high in sodium. So even if you're trying to be healthy and you're having some sushi, maybe salmon, which is loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, or you're having some tuna, and maybe your sushi roll has avocado, those things are good, the fatty fish, the avocado, some of the vegetables. But please avoid the soy sauce, because that's one of the worst foods for high blood pressure. Sodium-loaded salad dressings. Now, one of the joys of my career as a kidney doctor, as a hypertension specialist, is when patients come to me excited because they're trying salads. Oh yes, I want them to have salads, a lot of plant-based foods in their diets. But you simply must avoid the salad dressings that are loaded with sodium. Yes, just because it's on a salad doesn't mean that it's healthy. If you take a look, you'll find that many of the salad dressings have high salt content. For example, there are some salad dressings that may have 250 milligrams of sodium per serving. Okay, well, we know that the American Heart Association recommends no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day. But what is a serving? A serving may be 2 tablespoons of salad dressing. Okay, so 2 tablespoons, 250 milligrams. But what if you use 4 tablespoons, 5 tablespoons? Well, you've already practically exceeded your daily recommendation for sodium. So make sure you don't sabotage your healthy salad eating by having sodium-loaded salad dressings. Okay, I know that you may enjoy having a good pickle on your burger or on your sandwich, which we'll talk about burgers later. Or you might like to have sauerkraut in your hot dogs. Ooh, that's processed food. We'll talk about that later too. But, okay, fermented foods. You want to avoid having fermented foods in excess because they're loaded with salt, which of course is bad for your blood pressure. So make sure you're a label watcher. And when you think you're having that harmless pickle, remember, it's not worth it. It ain't worth it, silly. Canned soups. Now, your mama or your grandma may have told you that soups, like chicken noodle soups, are good for the soul. But guess what? She wasn't talking about canned soup. She was talking about the fresh soups like they used to make in the good old days. If you look at the labels on canned soups, you will find that oftentimes they really push your daily recommendation for sodium. And of course, we know that salt is very bad for your high blood pressure. So when you're trying to make a healthy choice and maybe have a vegetable soup or a chicken noodle soup or some type of a lentil soup, make sure it's not a canned soup, especially not having canned soups in excess. That's one of the worst things you can do for your blood pressure. Canned beans and canned vegetables. Yes, beans, legumes are good for you. They're loaded with fiber. They can be great for your health. And we know that vegetables, plant-based foods, are good for your health. But canned beans and canned vegetables specifically are loaded with salt, very high detrimental sodium content. So canned beans and canned vegetables, some of the worst foods for high blood pressure. Salted nuts. Now, we know that nuts in and of themselves can be an excellent source of protein, a good healthy snack when they are unsalted. But if you're dealing with salted nuts, they can have lots of sodium, high sodium, which of course, super bad for your blood pressure. So make sure you stick to the unsalted nuts. I know I'm in the grocery store, but let's just talk about fast food burgers, shall we? You already know. Fast food burgers are loaded with that red meat, which has lots of unsaturated fats, loaded with lots of salt, high salt, which we know is bad for blood pressure. And then think about what you put on your burger. Number one, there's the bread. And yes, bread is an ultra-processed food, and breads can be loaded with salt. It's bad for the pressure. Not to mention the cheese. Cheese can be salty. And if you put bacon on it, that processed meat, forget it. Frozen pizza, that's another one. I'm talking about restaurant pizzas or frozen pizzas. They can be loaded down with refined carbohydrates, salt, unsaturated fats. And you know there's that sauce, that tomato sauce. Yes, tomatoes by themselves can be healthy, fresh tomatoes, but tomato sauce loaded with sugar, yes, added sugar, as well as with salt. So you want to avoid frozen pizzas and restaurant pizzas. Instant rice and pasta mixes can be really bad for your blood pressure, and they're super convenient, right? They're really quick, they're flavorful, but guess what? They often have flavor enhancers loaded with high salt and preservatives. Make sure when you're getting that instant rice and instant pasta mixes, check the labels, because you'll find more times than not that they're loaded with salt and preservatives, and they are among the worst foods you can have when you're trying to maintain a healthy blood pressure. Remember what I said about the location of the foods in the grocery store that were worst for the blood pressure? Did you notice where I was located within the grocery store? Well, the foods that are worst for the blood pressure tend to be in the center of the grocery store, okay? Away from the refrigeration, away from the fresh foods. The foods that are in the center of the store tend to have the highest salt, the highest preservatives, the highest flavor enhancers, okay? So pay attention when you're in the grocery store. If you find yourself mostly in the center and not in the periphery with the fresh foods, you might be picking up a food that's not so good for your blood pressure. Thank you for going to the grocery store with me as we pointed out the 15 worst foods for blood pressure. If you found this video to be helpful, please be sure to like it and to share it with the people you care about. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and to hit the notification bell. The list I gave is not exhaustive. There are many, many more foods that are also bad for the blood pressure. Remember, you want to be a label watcher. If the food is very high in sodium, high in unhealthy fats, high in refined carbohydrates, high in added sugars, refined sugars, then it's likely bad for your blood pressure. Make sure you consult with your physician. Remember, high blood pressure is a silent killer, but it doesn't have to be. Make sure that you take control, know your numbers, and do your best to live your healthiest, happiest life. I'm Dr. Frita.